This is my new favorite smart switch. It's not fully managed, so its traffic shaping options are quite limited, but my primary interest is the ability to access the switch remotely to help determine what's going on when something on the network stops communicating. Unlike most smart mini switches, this one does not require you to install any software to access it remotely. While initial setup may be more convenient if you install the software for it, you can communicate with the switch using nothing more than a web browser. Other than that, I don't have much to say about this switch. Switches in simple networks are not very exciting things. They sit there and quietly direct traffic. This one doesn't seem to be any more or less reliable or fast than any other mini switch. Even if I had the equipment to test for that, I'm not sure that such test results would be meaningful outside of a lab. There are many things on a network that can affect the overall performance, and in a real-world situation, where you aren't controlling for all of those factors, it's difficult to point to any one piece and blame it for slowing down the network, unless there is something clearly wrong with it. InWake. Needed a cheap switch for separating my gaming consoles from my Wi-Fi. I did not want to go with a TP-Link switch since I have heard of issues with them. This one was recommended, so I gave it a try and I'm glad I did. It took me a little time to figure out how to configure it to get my VLANs right. It is very straightforward once you understand it. I would order more of these if needed. I purchased this switch along with a mesh router to bypass the router provided to me by my ISP. This switch is cheap and fairly easy to set up. I found it amusing that the manufacturer provided a CD with the manual, since many computers today are not equipped with a CD/DVD drive. The user interface of the switch is bland, no eye candy here, but finding the different settings is easy enough. One thing that I found a bit challenging at first was configuring the ports to different VLANs and then having the switch move away from a static IP to inheriting an IP address from another DHCP server, i.e., a router attached to the switch. If you change it to DHCP first, you may preclude yourself from connecting to the switch. This seems obvious, but no warning is provided ahead of time. In terms of configuring the VLANs, it's easy once you get it, but there are limited instructions. At first, all of the ports are untagged, and you can only have ports untagged once. And the default VLAN created by the switch is just called 1. It was a bit perplexing at first, but the trick is to remove the ports from VLAN 1 and then add them to the whichever new VLAN you create. I'm happy with the purchase, it works, and it was a great value. I am using this PO switch to run 6 IP cams, and so far it has been very reliable. It has recovered from about 3 unexpected power outages with no issues. I was previously using 2 4-port PO devices, which seem to have bandwidth problems causing video interruptions in recordings. This device appears to have eliminated those problems. Click link in description for more reviews.